Good. Call the City of Westfield, Indiana Board of Public Works and Safety meeting to order for November 20th, 2024. Will the staff please note the presence of a quorum?
Barb Connect,
Present.
Mayor Willis,
Here.
Randy Graham.
Present.
We do have a quorum.
Thank you. Before I go into the agenda items, we are going to add a couple items here. Right after the approval of the minutes, where action item 1.5 will be added, signing authority to dedicate electrical easements to Duke Energy, and there will be a presentation on that. The second item is a consent agenda item, and we will hear that before we make a motion to approve the consent agenda today. We'll have a short presentation of what that actually is. So moving forward, action item number 1, approval of minutes from October 23rd, 2024. Having had opportunity to review those minutes, are there any additions, corrections, or comments?
None here.
Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve action item number 1 as stated for the record.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve action item number 1, approval of minutes October 23rd, 2024. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to action item number 1.5, signing authority to dedicate electrical easements to Duke Energy.
John, if you're on and you can hear us, I think this is the Duke Energy item, if you could present that. You're muted. Can you hear us, John?
Is there any way to tell if our sound's getting through?
Yeah, I can.
There
Sorry,
you go.
guys. I didn't realize you were seeing if
Sorry.
I could.
Yep.
I could hear you. Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, we're up for the Duke item if you wanted to present that one.
Oh, that was quick. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah. So I was expecting that to be at the end. Perfect. So yeah, this is a signing authority for 4 Duke electrical easements that are required for the Sabre 32 project. As you recall, we are going from overhead to underground with the electric utility in the downtown area. That requires transformers and switch gears that are pad mounted on the ground. And Duke requires electrical easements around those, both for servicing, but also for safety. There's minimum clearance requirements for arcing of electricity and so forth. So we are acquiring those easements on behalf of Duke. The reason for the signing authority is we've got a couple of those ready and acquired. We're in final negotiations with 2 other property owners. And rather than waiting for the December Board of Public Works, I'd like to be able to sign those and get those recorded and over to Duke as quick as we can, so we're not holding anything up on their relocation work. So it's really just a function of trying to keep the project moving forward rather than coming back to you guys in December with formal approval of the easement. Happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, I had an opportunity to look over it before coming here. I don't know if the mayor and Nick have any questions about this.
I don't.
It's a great thing that we're burying power lines.
Yeah. Everyone knows I'm a fan of that. Whenever possible. All right, if there's no further discussion, I will make a motion to approve action item number 1.5, signing authority to dedicate electrical easements to Duke Energy.
Second.
Have a motion made and seconded to approve this action item as stated for the record. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nail. Moving forward under contracts and agreements, action item number 2, DLZ Indiana LLC and City of Westfield, 181st Street and Grand Park Boulevard Roundabout, local public agency consulting contract.
Yes, for the record, Michael Pierce, city engineer. So this contract before you is a design contract with DLZ Engineering to design the roundabout at 181st and Grand Park Boulevard. So this is a project we've identified in our capital improvement plan as a needed improvement at this intersection. So we have worked with DLZ to negotiate a fee that we feel is reasonable for design of that contract. That amount is a not to exceed amount of $290,400 for their design fee on that project. So we would ask that you approve that contract so we can work on design of that and target construction as soon as we can. Probably a 2026 summer timeframe would be probably our goal on that project.
Is this the intersection that has a stop sign one way and the other way? Grand Park Boulevard has no stop sign?
Correct, yeah. It's 181st stops for Grand Park Boulevard currently in the current condition.
That definitely needs improvement.
Correct, yeah. We did have some accidents early on in there. It seems like that has kind of stabilized now that people are more familiar with the layout of the intersection. But definitely would like to have a roundabout there to make it a little bit more efficient.
Yeah, because of the volume of traffic that comes through Grand Park Boulevard there, I think the roundabout is an efficiency and a great safety improvement for that intersection.
Yep, I would agree.
Definitely. Couldn't agree more.
Mr. Mayor, anything?
Nope.
All right, if there's no further discussion, I'll make a motion to approve action item number 2, DLZ Indiana LLC, City of Westfield, 181st Street and Grand Park Boulevard Roundabout, local public agency consulting contract.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to approve action item number 2 is stated for the record. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to action item number 3, Envoy Construction Services LLC and City of Westfield public-private agreement for fire station number 84.
Yes. For the record, Danielle Carey-Tolan here to be before you on the final PPA of the Envoy contract, as we have gone to the table for the last time with them. And we've gotten it in a good spot. This is just so that they can go out to do the buyout savings for the final bids for the subcontractors. Once we have that, then we'll become, again, before you for approval for the GMPs. But this is just to get us to that level. So if you guys have any questions, I'm here to answer that, or we have Chief Gaylor here as well.
No, this sounds great to me, that we're pushing on this, and in the future, we get GMPs in the front end, but I'm glad we can figure this one out.
Yes.
I agree with what Nick said. Any other discussion?
No, we learned from this process. We won't make that mistake again. So we'll just leave it at that.
All right, if there's no further discussion, I'll make a motion to approve action item number 3, Envoy Construction Services LLC, City of Westfield, public-private agreement, Westfield Fire Station 84.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to approve action item number 3 is stated for the record. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to action item number 4. V3 Companies and City of Westfield Contract Amendment Number 1 for Simon Moon Park Expansion Phase 2.
Afternoon, Chris McConnell, Parks Director for the City of Westfield. This is amendment to the original design contract for the Simon Moon project. Originally, we were not going to phase it. We've determined that we were phasing it. This addition gets us through the final completion of construction documents and bidding for Phase 2 of the project, and the additional dollars associated with that.
So it looks like the total amendments, $162,376.
Yeah, that is correct. And those dollars are already budgeted for in the Parks Impact Fee budget for 2025. So this would be, get them to continue the project. Most of these dollars would come out of the 2025 budget and would allow us to hit our target date for bidding this, which would be April of 2025, so we can meet our construction timeline of summer of 2025.
It's always good to hear within budget. Any questions or comments on this item here?
None from me.
Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve action item number 4, V3 Company's City of Westfield Contract Amendment number 1 for Simon Moon Park Expansion Phase 2.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to approve action item number 4 as stated for the record. All in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed? Motion carries. On to action item number 5. H&N Outdoor Services LLC in City of Westfield, revised low-profile site spreadsheet 2025 low-profile maintenance contract.
Again, Chris McConnell, Parks Director for the City of Westfield. This is an amendment or an addendum to our reoccurring annual low-profile landscape maintenance contract, adding the items to the contract that are listed there on this and extending this through the end of 2025.
Questions or comments on this item?
None from me.
Hearing none, I will make a motion to approve action item number 5, H&N Outdoor Services LLC, City of Westfield, revised low-profile site spreadsheet 2025 low-profile maintenance contract.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to approve action item number 5 as stated for the record. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to action item number 6, City of Westfield 2025 Personnel Policies, Procedures, and Benefits Manual.
Hello, for the record, Brady Laux, Director of HR for the City of Westfield. Coming before you today with the 2025 Personnel Policies, Procedures, and Benefits Manual. Just want to provide some context. This year, HR has did a lot of work working with many different groups. The administration obviously being one of those, both police and fire chiefs, the union, as well as we created a policy and benefits committee this year where we really used their data and feedback and input to guide a lot of the decisions throughout benefits as well as the policy manual. So just to give you some context, this is not HR just coming and creating their own policies. This has been ran through legal as well as getting feedback from the employees from all different levels. Just a high level, if you haven't had time to really peruse it, I know it can be a lot. It's a 90-page document. But Section 1, our core values did change. So that is something that we updated in Section 1. Section 4 had a lot of changes. This was our vacation overview policy. We really did a lot of work with that to where now we are going to have PTO. What we're doing is taking away floating holiday time and personnel hours and really combining that with vacation to create a PTO bucket. Really streamlines the process for the clerk treasurer's office, for HR, as well as for managers who are really, managing that time. The second thing was in Section 5.07 was the exempt employees removing of flex time. As of the end of this year, we will not be able to accrue flex time for exempt employees. They will have some time to burn that. That is not something that's governed by the FLSA, so we are able to do that. Exempt employees, as you know, you work until the job's done, and so that's kind of what that change is about, but we will allow people to burn that through March 31st of 2025. We also have in Section 5.10 as well as 8.04, we had a Social Security vote with our public safety individuals regarding Social Security tax. That is going to be removed. The city is going to place that 6.2% Social Security tax into a 401A account that's a city-sponsored plan. So just some language change to align with that switch. 7.01 was the medical sick leave policy. Currently, right now, if a new hire comes in, they get 8 hours remaining for every full month left of the year. It's not divisible by shifts, and that's something that we had heard a lot about from police and fire, that we want this to be divisible by shifts. We were able to work to a common goal here, and so we have had some changes to how that will be awarded within that first year. No changes to the years after that, but just that new hire first year. Section 7.02, the National Guard Reserve Duty and Task Force leave. Just some general changes as far as making sure that we're in compliance with allowing them to use accrued time if they are off and they request that. We did add that verbiage. Section 7.04 was the bereavement leave. We have kind of upped that for parents, children, if you have a loss of anything like that, that has been some added time to those additional people. Section 7.08 is the parental leave policy. We are requesting for 2 weeks of parental leave, whether that is a female or male. We're not able to award any additional time separately because of the Title VII. Then the next is 8.06, the 77 fund contribution has went up by PERF to 20.3%. The city does give an additional 1% of that payroll deduction, making it 21.3%. Just a strict policy update, but do want to recognize that. And then lastly, we have added a technology resources policy in 12.20, really about the acquisition management and inventory of our software, hardware, and applications within the city. So it's a high-level overview, but I'm open to any questions you guys have.
Just trying to absorb all that. But
I know, it's a lot.
the parental leave, that's in addition to any FMLA time that's available. That's an additional 2 weeks outside of the FMLA if they have applied and approved for that.
Correct. So it would run concurrent with FMLA, but it'd be 2 additional weeks that the city would give, and then they could roll into their own PTO time or sick time, depending on the situation.
All right, that's the way I understood it, but I wanted to make sure that was actually understanding what I read. So.
Yes, that is correct.
Questions or comments?
Anything you wanted to add in here that we're gonna come back around later on?
Oh, I'm sure there will be, yeah. But this was a lot of work to get here, a lot of changes. So we're very excited and happy about that. But there will be some more. It'll be minor stuff, but this is the bulk.
Okay.
It's been well received by our employees as well. I got a call from an employee a few levels below me. Surprising I got the call, but they just wanted to thank me for some of these changes that are occurring because it may seem little to those of us in this room, but it can be big for some of our employees. So I'm excited that we're going to be able to offer this up.
That's great.
Yeah, sounds good. Having done some work in HR myself, that's sounds like some nice.
Yeah, and we're trying to calibrate more to corporate America. I struggled with it, and Brady had to bring me back around because I tried to make wide sweeping changes to vacation and got a little bit ahead of my skis. But a lot of these things we're doing brings us in line with corporate America, and I think it's needed. It's needed.
Agreed. Any other discussion?
None from me.
Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve action item number 6, City of Westfield 2025 Personnel Policies, Procedures, and Benefits Manual.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to approve action item number 6 as stated for the record. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to action item number 7, Conflict of Interest Disclosure Statement, Daniel Carey Tolan.
And I can talk to you guys about this one. It's a form that you guys have probably seen before. It's just a SBOA form, conflict of interest disclosure statement. Basically, it has to be filed anytime a city employee or agent could have a pecuniary interest or derive a profit from a city contract or purchase. This one is on behalf of our Deputy Mayor and Chief of Staff, Danielle Carey Tolan. And the purchase has to do with, it has not taken place yet, but the city has an interest in purchasing land for a fire station, and that is owned by Carey and Sons, Inc. Danielle has shares in that company. So if you look down at the financial interest, she doesn't anticipate deriving a profit, but this is kind of a belt and suspenders approach just to get it on file and submitted ahead of the purchase. And statute says that it just has to be accepted by a public body. So we just submit it and you all can vote to accept it. And I'm happy to answer any questions. And it does have to be, this one does have to be signed by the mayor as well as the one doing the appointing of the deputy mayor. So if we can make sure to get that.
Looks like pretty standard to me, so.
We need to add daughters to the corporation name.
Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, the Carey family owns a huge chunk of land in the areas that we're getting ready to develop. So this is probably not the last time we're going to see this come before the city, but I went into this eyes wide open when I asked Danielle to join my team, and fully supportive of this.
Agreed. Any further discussion?
None for me, makes sense.
Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve action item number 7, conflict of interest disclosure statement, Danielle Carey-Tillett.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to approve action item number 7 as stated for the record. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to action item number 8, Avias Engineering and City of Westfield Roadway Improvements Amendment number 1.
Yes, for the record, again, Michael Pierce, city engineer. So this amendment before you is an amendment with the contract with BS Engineering. This is for our Union, Roosevelt College, and Cherry Street drainage project. So if you're not familiar with this is one that was approved a couple years ago to reconstruct and add drainage improvements, curb, resurfacing, some lighting, various improvements to those streets that I just mentioned around kind of the Union Bible College area. Since working on that a couple years ago with BS Engineering, we've added some scope to the project of that, which is primarily the reason for this amendment before you. A large chunk of that cost, as you can see in here, is for right-of-way acquisition costs, to do right-of-way engineering, title reports, staking, those sort of things. That's something we always anticipated being added to this contract, but wanted to get a better feel for a number of parcels we'd have to acquire and those sort of things before we actually approved that. So that's a big chunk, almost $90,000 worth of the amendment. The other sections of that, the other $100,000, is due to the added scope, things like adding lighting and bioswales along Union to kind of mimic what's existing along the west side of Union currently, to mimic that on the other side. And there's also some significant coordination that's taken place with not only the utilities, because many of those will be moving underground along Union to make it a little bit more pedestrian friendly and more aesthetically pleasing, but coordination with the entities on there, including the Friends Church and the Union Bible College, to make sure these improvements meet the goals of those entities as well as the goals of the project themselves. So before you use amendment, the total is a not to exceed amount of $193,200 to bring the total contract to $528,700. That's an amount we did quite a bit of negotiation with VS to come to a number we felt comfortable with and felt comfortable with approving. So we would ask that you approve this amendment to add that cost into the contract, and we can proceed with this design.
Questions, comments? Hearing none, I will make a motion to approve action item number 8, VS Engineering, City of Westfield Roadway Improvements Amendment number 1.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to approve action item number 8 as stated for the record. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to action item number 9. Morphe Construction, City of Westfield, 161st Spring Mill Roundabout Trail Extension, pedestrian bridge over John Edwards Drain, goods and services contract.
Again, for the record, Michael Pierce, city engineer. This is a very exciting item, one that's been a long time coming. So this is the goods and services contract for the construction of the roundabout at 161st Street and Spring Mill Road. Also included with this is another job in close proximity that we bundled into this contract to make it a little bit more efficient from a construction standpoint. And that's extending this trail from the northern edge of the Kroger fueling station up and crossing the John Edwards ditch with a pedestrian bridge and connecting that trail up to the Countryside Boulevard. So we opened bids on this last month, had 5 bids on this. The lowest was Morphe Construction. Actually, pretty incredibly, all 5 bids were within $200,000 of each other, which from a grouping standpoint is pretty rare. But our engineer's estimate on this was $3.95 million. Low bid was $3.59 million from Morphe, so well under our engineer's estimate on this project. Morphe's a contractor that we've done work with before on road projects. We feel comfortable with moving forward with them on this job. So we'd ask that you approve this contract so that we can get ready for construction next year on this project.
Just curious, it's been a minute since I've asked questions, talked about trails, but are we looking at like a 12-foot wide pedestrian trail?
I think it's
8 foot?
8 foot on all sides. We'll have 8-foot trails along all sides. And then this trail that goes up through here, I believe it's 8 foot through here as well.
Okay,
Matches the existing that's up there.
okay, that makes sense. Questions, comments?
None from me.
Okay. Hearing no further discussion, I will, make a motion to approve action item number 9, Morphe Construction, City of Westfield, 161st and Spring Mill Roundabout Trail Extension and Pedestrian Bridge over John Edwards Drain Goods and Services Contract.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to approve action item number 9 as stated for the record. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Sorry,
I was voting for it, sorry.
I was quick.
I was late.
quick on that.
Slow on the draw.
Motion carries. All right, on to resolutions. Action item number 10, resolution number 24-153, declaring certain personal property to be surplus and authorizing sale or transfer.
Rob Gaylor, Westfield Fire Department. This resolution is just acknowledging some old surplus fire equipment is used as surplus, allow us to get rid of, remove from our fleet 1994 boat and trailer that we have had in service for quite a long time. We've changed our water rescue responses, and these are no longer really of service to us, and that's all this resolution is, just asking permission from the board for us to count this as surplus and remove it from our fire stations.
Questions, comments?
None here?
Makes sense to me. All right, I will make a motion to approve action item number 10, resolution 24-153, declaring certain personal property to be surplus and authorizing sale or transfer.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to approve action item number 10 as stated for the record. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Under the consent agenda is the second additional item we've added to the agenda. The added item is introduction of Westfield Police Department potential hires. Not sure that everyone has had a chance to review that, so I've asked the chief to just fill us in on that before we make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Basically, we started a lateral-only program, hiring, and this initiative was established towards the end of this year to really address what we're going to experience come January 1 with a merit system. Once we have a merit system in place, which we'll have from between January 1 and March 1st to make those appointments, then that board would be established. They'll then have to create their own local rules, hire their own attorney. Basically, we looked at how long it would take before they'd be in a position to hire someone next year. And really, we're looking at probably late September to October to where that board could produce a list that we could hire from. So it was kind of imperative for us, if we wanted to meet some of the goals we have with the department next year, to make these hires before January 1. That would allow the rest of next year for the merit board then to get their feet underneath them, get their rules in place, and we wouldn't be without that personnel. So that's what we did in a very expedited manner. That's why the names I'm going to give you are all laterals, meaning they all have prior law enforcement experience and are officers at other locations. One of the other benefits to this is we have a number of things that we want to accomplish. By hiring now, by spring, we'll have 11 officers on each shift, and it'll also enable us to add 2 additional detectives to our investigations division. Specifically, we're going to target, we've added 1 to our financial crimes unit, which is a spot that's been vacant for over a year. We also look to branch out, add to our general case assignment detectives, but also to have some presence in our drug task force, which we've had none up to this point. So again, I emphasize with those goals in mind, we set out to expedite this hiring process and focus on laterals, whereas if we did new hires, we wouldn't make the date because we'd have that added process in there, so we focus solely on laterals. So the names, if, with your permission, I'll go through the names and kind of give you some background on each of the applicants that we'll ask you to hire here today. The first one is Mark Schaefer. He's a 29-year-old male. He has 6 years of law enforcement experience. He's currently with the Monroe County Sheriff's Department. He's got a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Xavier University. Next, we have Ezekiel McCarthy. He's a 32-year-old male. He has 5 years of law enforcement experience. He's currently with the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department, and he has an associate's degree in electrical, or as an electrician from Ivy Tech. Next, Daniel Stevens. He's a 27-year-old male. He has 4 years of law enforcement experience. He's currently with the Speedway Police Department. He's got a bachelor's degree in political science from Purdue University, and he's currently a lieutenant in the Indiana National Guard. Davin Nichols, he's a 43-year-old male. He has 18 and a half years of law enforcement experience. He's currently with the Tipton Police Department. He's got a bachelor's degree in computer science from Concordia University. Next, Marlon DeSosa. He's a 39-year-old male. He has 5.5 years of law enforcement experience. He's currently with the Indianapolis Airport Police Department, and he has a bachelor's degree in public health from Monroe College. Cody Kletheimer, he's a 24-year-old male. He has 3 years of law enforcement experience. He's currently with the Alexandria Police Department. He's a Marine Corps veteran and a high school wrestling coach. Last, we have Ethan Brewer. He's a 22-year-old male. He has 1.5 years of law enforcement experience as a part-time officer at Indiana University. He's got a bachelor's degree in forensic chemistry from Indiana University. And those are the 7 applicants that I would ask the board's permission to hire at this time.
Questions or comments for Chief Keen on this addition to the consent agenda today?
When you got your applicants and you're going through your pool of candidates, how satisfied are you with the size of that pool? How's that looking?
I mean, I think we all would like to see more. That's across the nation.
For everything.
But I was very satisfied with the 7 that we did receive. I interviewed all of them personally. They've got very good backgrounds, very good experience. Their maturity was good. I mean, we have a variation in age here. I mean, from early 40s to early 20s. But I was very impressed with all of them, and that we've attracted that type of talent. I'm happy with that. I would like to see more numbers, but that's a shortage we're seeing nationwide. And we'll just have to continue to be competitive and market ourselves to attract those qualified applicants.
Well, let us know anything we can do to help support that.
Thank you.
Any further discussion?
None from me.
All right, hearing none, I will make a motion to accept the consent agenda in its entirety, including the addition of introduction of WPD potential hires that Chief Keen has just presented.
Second.
Have a motion made and seconded to approve the consent agenda as stated for the record. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And if Chief Keen, if you want to go ahead and do your department report, since you're already up here, we'll move you up to first.
As always, I won't bore you with reading every single line of this. I know you can all read. Honestly, if I look at just the high points on our report, you're going to see October numbers, UCR specifically, not a huge variant from where we see ourselves. If you keep going. A year ago in October, I think we have a variation of 3. Keep going, sorry. There we are. Sorry. Top of the page, sorry. So we got October 2024. We've had rather 63 crimes that are reportable under UCR, whereas a year ago we had 60. That variation is minor. We see We've had fewer burglary thefts and motor vehicle thefts, and we've had a few more simple batteries. But that variation of 3 in a month is not significant, as you can see. So there really isn't any significant numbers there. We have very few violent crimes for almost this entire year, so that's always a good sign. If you could keep going, go through some of the other. If we look at traffic accidents, to note we had 70 in October of this year, whereas we had 83 the previous year in October. And if you could keep going to the next page, keep going, sorry. These are some of the high points, the 10 intersections that we see, kind of the reasoning for that, or at least the primary cause that's been cited by the officer investigating the accident. Kind of gives you, obviously most of ours are occurring on our busiest streets, 32, 6 out of the 10 occurring on 32 at those intersections. Almost all attributed, following too closely, failure to yield. Those are predominantly the issues there, and those are our most congested, busiest roads. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about this. Those are kind of the highlights. I mean, I can get into these numbers as much as you want, but I don't know that we benefit too much other than kind of giving you the highlights on where the crimes are and accidents. So.
Any questions or comments for Chief Keen?
Nothing from me.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next up will be Chief Gaylor, Westfield Fire.
Yeah, again, Rob Gaylor, Westfield Fire Department. Pretty standard, in air quotes, October for the fire department. Numbers are really pretty similar to what we've been seeing. I will say that percentage-wise, our assisted living nursing facility calls are down. But we're still running about that 15%. Last October, we averaged 14 and a half responses per day, and again, our average turnout time was 1 minute and 15 seconds. 435 incidents resulted in almost 1,100 apparatus responses. Comparatively, we were up percentage-wise in call volume from previous years, but again, kind of very similar to what Chief Keen had mentioned. Nothing really significant, pretty standard. It's right along with the increase that we're expecting to see from year to year, right in that 3 to 5% as an overall for our organization. Again, I'd just be reading and regurgitating numbers to you folks and don't want to insult your intelligence, but would be happy to discuss anything that you'd like dealing with the report. Anything you have questions on.
Questions or comments for Chief Gaylor?
None for me.
I'll just make a comment. Rob knows this is coming, but we got a meeting coming up to talk about the nursing homes. Change is definitely coming with that. Because I'm tired of watching an ambulance and a fire truck go by my house or my office almost daily to the nursing homes down the street. So we're going to change that. It's a waste of asset.
For the record, as I think everyone knows, I'm on board with anything that can be done to reduce those. Whether it be education, I don't think it's helped, but I don't think has solved the problem. So I think accountability is probably the only solution to that. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys come up with, because it's definitely, in my opinion, a misuse of resources that are available.
Yeah, taxpayers are paying for way too much assets to show up at a nursing home to pick an elderly person off the ground. And we've tried, Rob's tried ad nauseum to get nursing homes to come online, and they do for a short period of time, but it's not going to change the trajectory of it long term, so we're going to have to do something differently.
You know, and keep everything in context. As our community grows and as we get more beds in facilities like this, our numbers to those facilities are going to continue to increase.
Yeah.
So from my perspective as the fire chief, my concern is the nuisance calls, for lack of a better term. Those are the things that we need to curtail. People are sick, they're going to call 911, we're going to go.
We're going to go.
But when you have every means at your disposal to lift a human being up, use that before you call for our services, I think is where we're really trying to drive this.
Because we've got, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sounds like accountability is the answer.
Yeah.
We've got city councilors now saying they don't want any more nursing homes in our community because of the resources it drains, and that's not the right approach. Quite frankly, we don't have enough in our community for our population and where we're growing to, so we just need to fix the problem.
And wholeheartedly agree. I think there's 4 more online slated to come on board in the next 4 or 5 years, plus the addition to Copper Trace. And if you just figure on the average, it's at least 1 run per bed per year. So we're going to get to those facilities. And we're running 15 to 18% of our calls, and we're adding another 60%. That's going to eat up a lot of resources. Again, I don't think that carving these out of the community is the answer to take care of our folks that live here. But understanding that we're an emergency response agency and we'll respond to emergencies. And when you have the means and capabilities at your hand to take care of the challenges that you're given, you need to do that.
Do any other communities approach this with fee-based systems or something that follow?
There are some communities in the state that do offer, I don't want to say fines, but if you want to build that kind of a facility in here, you're going to pay up front or on an annual basis because we know that it's going to impact public safety in a way. There are some to the southwest that do that. And I don't know, looking at some of the legalities and legislature that's out there, I believe that we have the opportunity, we could put in some ordinances to establish fines or a usage fee or something like that for those facilities when it is a nuisance call. But again, just like you folks have said, it's a management issue that is their problem, making it our response. And I'm happy to say that we're advertising right now for an internal MIH person, community paramedicine that's actually going to help a lot with these starting in 2025 is part of on our staff. They're doing a bunch of other things, but dealing with these facilities is a portion of their job responsibility as well.
Totally agree with all that. I mean, it's just, for the amount of money that is charged for our residents to live there and stay there, the institutions need to have the staff on hand to take care of the utilitarian or nuisance calls that are unnecessary to roll out our emergency response teams to. And it's, until we get a thumb on it, it's just going to continue to spiral out of control. And I agree that not having the facilities is not the answer, because we need to be able to take care of our residents. But those facilities need to be properly staffed and trained to handle those items that are non-emergent situations. So
There needs to be some legislation out there that allows us to filter and deal with some of this stuff. It's not a problem just in Westfield. This is a national problem. And quite honestly, there needs to be some legislation in place that helps these facilities hire the people, pay the people, retain the people to take care of the issues that these facilities have without relying on the tax dollars or the public safety folks in the communities to go and fix their issues.
Are there other state legislation that you would point to?
There's none on the horizon right now. There are some federal regulations coming down, ET3 and some things like that that are dealing with more along the lines of community-based social work type things that allow agencies that provide those services to receive some funds. And so we're actually partnering with a local agency here towards the end of the year to work with them next year on MIH community-based healthcare, things like that that will allow us to send people door to door to take care of sick people at home before they call 911, and we send an engine and a medic unit to those facilities to take care of their problem and transport them emergent to a facility. We're taking a more home-based, if you will, approach to, listen, when you're sick, you can call this person. We're going to help you stay better before you end up in the hospital or in the nursing facility or assisted living, where it is a big drain on our resources. And so we're partnering with another agency to do that, and the funding then comes down through the hospital systems. So it's not a burden on our tax dollars, right? It's a way for us to offset those costs and take care of and manage those, again, before it becomes a number on the pie chart, so to speak.
Appreciate your diligence and continued work on that, and looking forward to hearing what some of the resolutions will be to getting to the point we need to get to on this. So glad you guys are continuing to work on this. It's something we talk about every month. So
It is, absolutely it is.
yeah. Any other questions, comments for the chief?
None from me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next up is Public Works Report.
Yeah, sorry, I'm back again, guys. John Nail here. Apologies for not being with you all in person, but I fortunate enough to be up at Purdue's campus, getting ready to speak to a bunch of young civil engineering students, hopefully showing them some of the rewards of public service. So wish me luck in that. But a quick Public Works update. The big headline would be we're getting ready for winter weather. We expect some snow tomorrow. Ground temperatures are warm enough. We don't expect any accumulation, but we were ready to go and prepared for that. We received nearly $1.5 million in community crossings grant money. We just learned that last week. And big kudos to Michael Pierce and his team for putting that application together, as they always do. It's a huge boost for our resurface program. It nearly doubles our resurface program as a result of that grant money. So congrats to him and his team. And then lastly, we did have a serious accident on southbound Union. There at the new curve where it curves into Westfield Boulevard. I just want to let the board know we are working on lighting and some other safety improvements at that location to help prevent anything like that happening in the future. So those are the three kind of updates I wanted to cue you in on, and if you have any questions, happy to answer them.
Questions, comments for Mr. Nail?
None from me.
Oh, thank you, and good luck with your presentation at Purdue.
Enjoy God's country, man.
It's beautiful up here.
It is always beautiful at Purdue.
If you were here, you would see that 2 out of 3 are representing right now. So. Remain unnamed, that I don't have a Purdue shirt on today. Any further business, Mr. Mayor?
Nope. Good meeting. Lots of stuff going on.
All right, there's no further business. I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn the City of Westfield, Indiana Board of Public Works and Safety meeting for November 20th, 2024. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.